Good morning, everybody. Happy rainy Wednesday. It's not very nice at all today. It's very wintry, but we are in December, I suppose. So, folks, welcome back to my property news. Stick around until the end because I've got some great news stories to share for you today. And of course, if you do like what we do here, please click on that follow button and please click on that like button. Don't forget, give yourself a shout out. Tell me who you are. Tell me where you're from, and then we'll get cracking with the news. I'm Rick Gannon. Welcome back to my channel. Well, that was the long version, wasn't it? I don't know what happened there. So welcome back, folks. Let's do the shout outs first of all. Let's see who's on today and let's see where you are watching from. So good morning from Julie. You are watching in Hemel and you've shared it. Good morning, John, saying hey, watching from YouTube. Martin, good morning, watching from Warrington. Mihaela, watching from Bucharest, and you shared it as well. Mihaela, you've got today's sticker for the furthest away at the moment. Emma, good morning from Ashford in Kent. And Helen, good morning from a wet Angus in Scotland. Yeah, it's pretty wet here today as well. Good morning, Yemi from Essex. Nice to see you on here this morning. Don't forget, folks, that if you like this news feed, you can also contribute by sharing some stars, which is always a really nice gesture. So what's in the news today? First up, the Labour-controlled Greater London Authority and 18 other groups of activists, charities and students have formed a new pro-renter coalition. Another one. Called the Renters Reform Coalition. The new group calls on the government to use upcoming Renters Reform Bill to end Section 21 evictions and create a system within which renters feel empowered to stand up for their rights. Do we need another one? I mean, the getting rid of the Section 21 is coming anyway. So are they going to claim that then as their doing and as their first initial success? I suspect that's probably what's going to happen. The coalition includes Shelter, Generation Rent, the National Union of Students, the London Renters Union, as well as the Labour GLA. It claims that for too many renters, a safe, affordable and secure home is out of reach. And it gives a dramatic description of how it sees tenants today, saying, in the midst of a public health crisis, thousands of private renters faced mounting debt, eviction, harassment by their landlords and unsafe homes which put their health at risk. It goes on to claim that 350,000 households have had their landlord discuss eviction with them already. It also says that the current restrictions on evictions, bailiffs are not allowed to execute possessions until January the 11th. That's not law, that's just an agreement as far as we're aware. Should be extended indefinitely until the pandemic is deemed to be over. When could that be? A spokeswoman for the group, Bridget Young of the Nationwide Foundation, says the government has pledged to end Section 21 no-fault evictions, and 1 year ago we welcomed its plans to reform private renting in the upcoming Renters Reform Bill. This bill is an opportunity to redesign our housing system, creating a fairer balance between renters and landlords. Implemented correctly, these reforms are also a chance to improve the safety, security and condition of privately rented homes. We are looking forward to working with the government and other partners to take this opportunity to deliver a more just housing system. The coalition is a broad group, but we are united in our belief that everyone needs a safe, affordable and secure home where they can live and flourish. Interesting. What are your thoughts on that, folks? Let's say hi to the rest of the late followers here. Helen, good morning. We've said hello already. Alessandra, good morning, watching from North Yorkshire. Good morning, Stuart, watching from Westbury. And Kirtan from Hertfordshire. Good morning, Michelle, watching on YouTube from a bright and sunny Wandsworth. Good morning, Julie. Julie's saying that Shelter clearly know they hold no weight on their own and are losing respect in the industry. So now they think they will be stronger together. Joanne, good morning from Stratford. Good morning to Michelle. Folks, you will notice this little banner down here. So Facebook have just given me what they call star status. It is an invite only. I only know one other person that's got this in the whole of Facebook. I don't know anyone else that has it. Now, what this means is that Facebook have recognized me as a content creator because I do a lot of content and I spend a lot of time in my community. So what they've done is they've opened up the star function, which means if you like what you see and if you like the channel and you like what the content provides you as an individual, you can contribute just as a thank you. Now, they're 1 penny per star. That's all they are. So if you'd like to donate a couple of stars, it goes back into the page. And what I'm going to do next year is bring lots of interview guests onto the program, onto the show and into the page, some of which I'm going to have to pay for. So it just gets put back into the ecosystem and it just makes for a much, much better experience. All you have to do is click on that star button in the comment section, tell me you've donated and I'll give you a shout out. So thank you in advance. Next on today's news feed. Now, this is interesting. The number of UK landlords, just let me close that down there so I can see what I'm doing. The number of UK landlords has risen 49% in the last 5 years to an all-time high of 2.7 million, claims a lettings agency. Now, that's shot up. Used to be around 2 million, didn't it? So London agency Ludlow Thompson, which makes the claim, says that the growth is down to property's strong record of returns to investors. Whilst rental income from buy-to-let investments has remained relatively stable during the coronavirus, UK blue chip shares have seen their dividends slashed and commercial property funds have had to temporarily close as many tenants stop paying rents. Now, this is according to their report. The agency cites figures from stockbroker AJ Bell, and it shows that dividend payments from the FTSE 100 companies are expected to drop by 24%. Now, similarly, in commercial property market has fared poorly, with 54% of tenants in discussions with their landlords about taking a rental holiday. And a study by law firm Boodle Hatfield showed that UK listed property companies collected just 67% of rents due for June quarter. Despite the UK's troubled employment market, residential property landlords have seen relatively fewer problems with rent arrears, according to the agency. Out of the 1,500 tenancies managed by Ludlow Thompson, only 4% of tenants have had to go into rental deferment plans in the third quarter of 2020. The relative stability of the residential property market through the pandemic has mirrored the resilience it showed during the credit crunch. Stephen Ludlow, the chairman of Ludlow Thompson, has said that the buy-to-let market has continued to provide a reliable return on investment for landlords, even during the worst of the pandemic, when other forms of investments went through a period of intense volatility. The historic resilience of residential property means that many private investors are still looking to add to their holdings, particularly before March 2021, of course, when the stamp duty holiday ends. We would advise existing and prospective landlords to consider repurposing their properties to meet the changing needs of tenants, with people spending more time at home. Having extra space, both in and outdoors, has become more important than ever, and outdoor areas and home offices are both in very high demand, as is accessibility to high-speed Wi-Fi. What are you planning on next year, folks? Are you planning on extending your portfolios? Interested to find out your thoughts on that. We've got a lot of plans next year. I did a bit of a Q&A yesterday. And of course, like everybody else, we've had a bit of a topsy-turvy year. We've had a year that's gone up and it's gone down. And we had a very volatile period during lockdown 1, where we lost about 17 tenants. And 17 tenants at £450 a room or thereabouts is quite a lot, as you can imagine. And we've got through that, and we got through it, and now we're down to about 4 voids. So it did affect our business. You know, we'd be lying to say if it didn't. But coming into the new year, next year, I'll tell you what we've got planned at the moment. We've currently got 3 planning applications in for build projects on properties we already own. We've got planning outline accepted for 2 5-bedroom new builds. And then we've got a scheme going in for a 16-bed block of apartments, which will be new build, and a scheme going in for 3 new builds. So that's 16, 17, 18, 19, 21 new builds we've got schemes in for. So next year for us, we're going to be breaking ground, we're going to be developing, we're going to be growing, and of course, we're going to be parking any profits into HMO property, because I firmly believe that HMO property is going to be continued to be one of the best strategies moving forwards, because people will always need somewhere to live, and the HMO strategy is going to offer that transient lifestyle that many people are going to be looking for as we enter into the new year. Gabenga saying good morning. Paul is saying I'm planning to move. Sorry, folks, I disappeared then. Where did I go? Paula said, I'm planning to move to a country far less. Totalitarian. Okay, a big word for me to say this morning. Can you see me, folks? I just disappeared. Am I back? Tell me I'm back. I don't know what happened. My computer just went dead. Paul, we are looking to expand our portfolio in 2021. HMOs, serviced accommodation. Not much in hand at the moment, but on the lookout for opportunities. There will be a lot of opportunities coming up, folks. Mark my words, next year. So, yeah, someone's saying you've lost me. Am I back, folks? Am I here? Adnan, I'm back. Thank you. I'm back. I know I cut off. I don't know what happened. It's just what happens sometimes on the live feed. I'm back. Awesome. I'm back. Cool, folks. Let me know if you do contribute with the stars, by the way, so I can give you a shout out. So that's what we've got planned for next year. I haven't finished the news feed yet, but I just wanted to let you know what we're doing. So we're continuing to look for HMOs. We're continuing with our HMO portfolio. During the pandemic, it's our HMO portfolio that got us through the rentals. Now, single let properties don't make us a lot. We've got about 17 single lets, but our HMO portfolio got us through because of the high cash flow. So I firmly believe that HMOs are going to be here to stay. There's a lot of noise in the market. Some people say they are, some people say they're not. But if you look at what actually HMOs offer, transient lifestyle, working from home, if you can add that, if you've got a garden, perfect. Fast internet, co-living with other people, because people don't want to be locked down on their own. So it offers everything, inclusive bills, easy to afford, easy to manage the money, etc. So I firmly think that HMOs absolutely are going to be the way forward. So January, I'm going to start my own acquisition phase for my company whilst we go through our 16, 17, 18, 19, I say 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 new builds we've got in the pipeline for next year. So it's going to be a huge year for us. We don't normally do development. We specialise in private renting from HMOs, serviced accommodation, serviced holiday lets and single lets. We don't normally break ground. We don't normally develop, but we are next year. So watch this space. I will be documenting the whole of my journey. It's going to be a big learning curve for us as well, as much as I am anxious about it. It's another arm that we've never really explored. So that's where we are. That's what we're going to be up to. Let's have a look in the comments. So is the NHS. Andrew, you're talking about H again. That was like about a week ago. But yeah, you can say H, you can say H. It's entirely up to you. Everyone's saying that I'm back. Magic Wednesday. Absolutely Magic Wednesday. Okay, what's next on today's news? Wales is the latest part of the UK to follow the England example, and they are going to be suspending evictions until January the 11th as part of its response to protect renters during COVID. Wales Housing and Local Government Minister Julie James says, "We have taken action to protect public health and support Welsh tenants over the Christmas period. This is an extremely difficult time for many people, and renters should not be forced out of their homes at a time when there will be less access to advice, support and alternative accommodation. We also know that people who are homeless are at a higher risk of contracting coronavirus. One of the best ways of tackling homelessness is to prevent it from happening to begin with, and this is just one of the steps we are taking as many people face uncertainty." ARLA Property Mark has monitored Welsh rental sector actions, and the Welsh Government has a private sector loans scheme for tenants who are in rent arrears, which we don't have. A low-cost loan is paid directly to the landlord in a bid to address debt and prevent evictions. ARLA Property Mark, which has called for a similar loan scheme in England, says both agents and landlords in Wales should keep in mind the availability of these potential financial support sources in order to ensure tenants are informed. I don't think we're going to see one of these loan schemes be introduced in England. What are your thoughts, folks? I don't think we are. I think if we were going to see it, we would have seen it by now. So yeah, let's just wait and see what happens. Now, finally today, wow, we're into 20 minutes already. It's flown today. We can do a little bit of a Q&A, folks, if you'd like to, at the end of this session. Quite happy to bring the Q&A into the news feeds if you've got any questions from me or anybody else. In fact, we've got Julie on board as well today. Julie's here. She does evictions. Julie used to work for the Citizens Advice, etc. So if you've got any questions now, let's turn this into a 5-minute Q&A towards the end of the news feed. Finally, in the news today, that a TV show relating to the story of London estate agent Suzi Lamplugh will this evening reveal that there is a possible new witness. Do you remember the story? So I'll talk a little bit about that. There is some connections apparently as well to Worcester from what I can recall on this particular incident. The Vanishing of Suzi Lamplugh is called, and this evening it's going to be on Channel 5, and it's the latest show to go over the details of the agent's last appointment with a mysterious Mr. Kipper at a viewing in West London in July in 1986. The programme also reveals that the man widely considered to be a possible murder suspect, convicted killer John Cannon, may be considered for parole in the next 2 years. Cannon is currently serving a life sentence for the murder of another woman called Shirley Banks in 1987. Many of the surviving officers from that era, including former senior investigating officer Jim Dickey, believe that Cannon is responsible for the death of 25-year-old Suzi in 1986. Cannon, who is also a convicted rapist, denies involvement for the disappearance of the agent, whose body has never been found. She worked for Sturgis and Sons estate agents. But Dickey tells tonight's programme that he should never be released, and he says that I've got no sway over the parole board. They will make whatever decision they will make. But I certainly, for one, and most police officers involved in the Lamplugh case, never want him released. The last year, the chief executive of the Suzi Lamplugh Trust, set up to commemorate the murder of the estate agent, died at the age of 42, Rachel Griffin, and she died from cancer. The trust was established the same year that Suzi went missing by her late parents, Paul and Diana. It's been run in the National Stalking Helpline since 2010, supporting over 30,000 victims of stalking since that time. So I don't know if you recall Suzi Lamplugh, folks. She went to do a viewing with a Mr. Kipper and never came back and was never found since. So that's on tonight on Channel 4, and it's called The Vanishing of Suzi Lamplugh. There we have it. All right, let's have a look. So, Julie, you're interested to watch the Suzi documentary? Yeah, I'll be watching that myself as well. There was a little bit of some kind of connection with St. Peter's, which is not too far from where we are. Many years ago, there was a connection to say that her body had been buried in and around the St. Peter's area, which is very close to where we are. Okay, folks, that's it. No questions coming in. So if you do like the show, please click on that like button and that subscribe button to make sure you don't miss any of my future broadcasts. And of course, if you do like the show, you can contribute by sending stars. That would be absolutely phenomenal. Thank you, folks, for watching. I'll be back here tomorrow at 8:30. Don't be late. And don't forget, make sure you have some fun. All right, take care. I'm Rick Gannon. Welcome back to my channel.